Today we are going to talk about an interesting model which focuses on technology adoption at the population level, specifically for the emerging uh, volatile fatty acid platform, a technology for converting organic waste into high-end products within the circular economy. So, to start, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, so my name is Siavash. I am a senior researcher at ILBO, which is a Flemish research institute for agriculture, fisheries, and food located in Belgium. And my background is in economics, and also for my PhD, I've been working a lot with agent-based models, and it is a central part of my work even till now.
So, to begin, can you explain the main objectives of this model and its relevance to the circular economy?
Yeah, so you introduced it well from the beginning. So the essence of it is technology adoption, and there are a lot of calls for new technologies in the field of circular economy, and the waste treatment sector is also being one of the targets, meaning that instead of biogas installations, the European Commission and also Union are pushing forward novel ideas like let's try to convert the organic waste into some high-end products, and let's not focus only on energy production from the recycling. That is basically the essence of the model. So we want to simulate the adoption of well, for us is the Volatile Fatty Acid Platform, which is one of these technologies. And of course, we are trying to take into account different factors that could facilitate such adoption. But we are also not naive, so we are also looking into some other potential outcomes, meaning that not only facilitating, but also looking into, for example, the emergence of monopoly also in the market. So what if only a few actors adopt, but they occupy the market? So these are kind of the interesting parts of the model, and well, basically a bit of an objective of the model.
What were the main challenges in developing this model, particularly in simulating the adoption of emerging technology?
I think the main challenge for this model and also very similar types model when they deal with new technologies is that you have a lack of historical trend. So these technologies are new. Of course, you know your population. You know there might be a pioneer group that they want to adopt, but you don't know whether this is going to happen or not. You may try to proxy it with some similar technologies that have been diffused over time, but at the end of the day, they are not the same. So it's a circular economy is totally new logic, arguably. So I'm making this claim, but in a sense that, for example, if you think about a public waste treatment plant, this waste treatment plant is essentially public and is not into competition. And then you want to tell this plant, hey, adopt some sort of a technology that with which you can produce some high-end products that you can sell in the market. So you're basically introducing a private logic in the public organization, and that is very challenging. And this means that you really need to fine-tune a lot of things regarding the decision logic, whether such thing could be even feasible from a managerial point of view. And yeah, so basically the decision logic component was a big challenge for us. And more than that, as I said earlier, so we could not really fit the model with historical trends. And what we did a lot of interviews with waste treatment plant managers, also CEOs, and yeah, basically how to translate the qualitative insights into some parameters was kind of the big challenge for us. But of course, we had also a lot of quantitative data regarding, like, for example, cost-benefit analysis or maybe some desk research, understanding population. But basically, every component of the model needed to be validated. And yeah, so we did our best. But again, if I want to summarize, the main challenges were, one was lack of historical trend to calibrate the model, and the other one was fine-tuning and validating the decision-making of the agents.
So as for the findings of this model, could you share the main insights coming out of the model analysis?
I think there are two types of findings. So the first type are quite linear, so let's say more common sense. For example, the more subsidies you give, the more possibilities for the adoption. Let's say these are quite straightforward. But then you have another interesting part, which is the market growth. In our case, the market growth is mainly about how alternative products, let's say our products that are based on alternative sources, technologies, can be preferred over mainstream products. So you have kind of a replacement of the mainstream by the alternative. So what is that growth trajectory? And yeah, so if you think that this is going to grow over time, so you might have some other actors that they could consider and jumping in to the adoption train of the circular technologies. And then you also have, I guess the most interesting part was the increase or the probability of the production factor to be increased. So this means that your technology can get improved over time with some certain probabilities. And if you assume that the probability is high, it is better to adopt earlier. This is probably the main, kind of the cherry on the top of all of the results that we had. So, because there is a high chance that you will be able to produce a lot of, let's say, like units of your production, and then what will happen is that you will occupy the market. And the other actors, if they want to jump in, if they want to enter, they have to possess a very high risk-taking factor, let's say, or characteristics. Otherwise, you kind of occupy the market and you stay there and you become one of the few actors that is producing. So this is our proxy also to emergence of monopoly in the market. So I think this is the part that is really interesting to look into. There is also a paper that we wrote that we summarize all the factors. You can find it also in ComSES on the resources part. But you see at the end that actually the model is assuming that there is a limit in the market. So the market has a limit, and only a few actors could go in if the production factor is going to be high. So this is something that you can explore with the model.
So you have made your model available via comsys.net. So how do you think about making models available to others? And what were the main challenges in making this model available using the comsys.net platform?
The best part of the story is that others can see your model. I think that's I mean, no one would be objecting that from my point of view. But the very first thing that happened at the beginning was that we did not make the model available to the others. And the reason for that was that we wanted our paper to be published. And not because that we didn't want the model to be stolen by someone else or something like that, but the idea was that the reviewers who are reviewing our paper, they follow a blind review process. So exactly. If they see our name on the model, then they would know who we are. So it would be kind of tricky maybe. So we waited a bit. Once we got the acceptance notification from the editor, we decided to upload the model as soon as possible. And of course, it's kind of a win-win also, right? So you have the credits to your model through a paper, and uploading it there was also very easy. I mean,
what's next for this model? Can you discuss any specific research questions or potential extensions you're considering for this model?
Well, we have some ideas. For now, in the model, we included 3 technologies. We were talking about what if we go for many other technologies. So then we can also project some sort of a dominant technology that could kind of take over the whole industry. So not only these three that we have. This was one idea, but we haven't started with that project yet. But something else to take into account is that this model is very much focused on the production side. So we have another model, not in the NetLogo, which this model is. The other model is on Julia programming, and we are focusing on the demand side. So it's a similar type technology, but we are focusing on whether consumers, in our case farmers, would prefer the outcomes that come from such technology. So we are focusing basically on the simulation of the demand based on mostly prospect theory and stuff like that. But yeah, so you can imagine that the next step for us at the moment to complement this model is that we extend the focus, and instead of focusing on the supply and the production side, we also go towards the demand side.
Thank you very much for joining me.
Yeah, not a problem. It was a pleasure.